If you own a Honda motorcycle, check this bolt right now, because what's leaking out of it isn't just oil, it's the truth. The company that sold us the power of dreams is now trapped in a nightmare of its own design. Behind Honda's spotless image, investigators say the numbers weren't always real, and the machines weren't always safe. Doctored test data. Quiet recalls. Parts so small they could fit on your fingertip, yet powerful enough to send riders sliding across the highway. What was once the symbol of Japanese precision has become the center of a global scandal shaking the entire motorcycle world. But this story isn't just about engines, it's about ethics. Stay to the end, because what you're about to see proves Honda's biggest flaw wasn't mechanical, it was moral. Sliding danger. Picture this. You are cruising down the highway at 70 miles per hour, the wind pressing against your jacket, the steady hum of the engine reassuring you that everything is under control. Then, without warning, the back of your bike wobbles. At first you think it is just a bump in the road, but then the rear wheel slips out from under you as if you were riding on ice. The reason? Oil dripping onto the tire from a faulty crankcase sealing bolt. A part so small it could rest on the tip of your finger suddenly turns your motorcycle into a weapon aimed at you. Honda called it a recall, a fix to be handled during routine service. But riders know better. This is not a minor inconvenience. This is life or death. One mistake on a motorcycle is all it takes to end a life, and Honda gambled with that. They put riders like you, your friends, and even your family on the back of machines that could betray you in the middle of traffic. The brand you bought for peace of mind is now asking you to accept terror as a feature. You thought Honda stood for reliability. Instead, they turned your trust into a bet, and the stakes of that bet are not measured in dollars. They are measured in lives. But this was not a freak accident, and it was not an isolated defect. Investigators digging into Honda's operations discovered that the betrayal started long before the oil touched your tire. Fake numbers. Step behind the glossy ads, and you find yourself in a test chamber where every figure is supposed to mean truth. Horsepower, torque, noise levels, numbers that you rely on when you decide which bike is worthy of your hard-earned money. Yet inside Honda's labs, those numbers were not always real. Regulators discovered that engineers altered test conditions and even rewrote results. Instead of authentic data, riders were handed a polished illusion. Think about what that means. When you compared bikes online, you thought you were choosing based on facts. Maybe you wanted a machine with quiet compliance so you would not get hassled in your neighborhood. Maybe you cared about torque ratings that promised enough power for long road trips. Whatever you weighed in your decision, Honda tilted the scales. While you were paying for reliability, they were selling you falsified stats. That betrayal cuts deeper than a defective bolt. A bolt can be replaced, but numbers faked at the source infect every decision you make. They shaped brochures, websites, and the very promises Honda made in showrooms. They convinced you to put money down on a bike that was never what they claimed. And when the truth of the labs comes out, the lies do not stop there. In fact, they only grow louder once they hit the airwaves. If this already makes you question Honda's promises, hit like right now and drop a comment. I want to hear your story, because riders speaking up together can't be ignored. Stolen choice. You remember the commercials? Smooth roads, smiling families, rugged bikers cutting through city streets. Honda promised dependability like it was stitched into every bolt. But behind the promise lurked something else. Investigators found that Honda's marketing was not just selling bikes, it was selling control. When you visited their websites, clicked their offers, or signed up for updates, Honda's systems collected more than your interest. They collected your behavior, your habits, your preferences. Then they used that information to make sure your choices were never as free as they seemed. In California, regulators caught Honda making it unnecessarily difficult for riders to opt out of having their data shared. The fine print worked against you. The design of their systems nudged you toward one conclusion: buy the bike, trust the brand, ignore the risks. Imagine thinking you were shopping on your own terms, when in reality the company already knew how to push you where it wanted. They knew how to shape the screen, adjust the offer, and spin the message until you felt like buying was inevitable. You thought you were choosing Honda. In truth, Honda was choosing you. And this culture of control did not stop at flashy ads or digital trickery. It was baked into the way Honda presented itself everywhere. Confident smiles, trusted slogans, friendly assurances. But underneath, it was all aimed at one thing, making sure you never saw the cracks until it was too late. And the cracks? They were not random mistakes. They were part of a system. Protect yourself where Honda didn't. Real gear and accessories are linked below. Now back to the story. The pattern. Put the pieces together. A critical defect that could send you sliding on the highway. Lab numbers massaged until the truth vanished. Ads crafted to promise dependability while quietly erasing your right to choose. This is not sloppy work. It is not an accident. It is a pattern of behavior designed to take your trust, take your money, and leave you holding the risk. If you feel betrayed, you should. You are not alone. Thousands of riders bought Honda because they believed the commercials, the brochures, and the heritage. They thought a Honda in the garage meant safety on the road. Instead, it meant uncertainty at every turn. That betrayal does not vanish with a recall letter. It lingers in every decision you make about whether to ride today, whether to sell tomorrow, whether to ever trust again. This is not bad luck. It is a system that gambled with your life. A system that saw riders as numbers on a spreadsheet rather than people who bleed, people who work, people who deserve truth. Honda's scandal does not live only in defect reports. It lives in every rider who has felt that wobble of doubt on a bike that was supposed to be bulletproof. And the worst part?